Back in January 2024, I bought an abandoned house. It was old, smelly, and used to be a cannabis farm.
And in here, we have ourselves a nice little ex-cannabis farm.
It was also out of my budget, and it needed a lot of work done to it. So to the untrained eye, this might look like a nightmare property. But I knew if I got my calculations right, I could make some serious money very, very quickly. So in this video, I'm going to break down my latest deal and explain exactly how I turned this abandoned house into an investor's dream. But before we get into the numbers, I'm guessing the first question on your mind is, how would anybody buy an abandoned cannabis farm? When you are looking for an investment, you want to think like a football coach. The worst time to buy a player is when they've just scored a hat-trick in the World Cup final. They're at their peak and they're overpriced. So the risk outweighs the reward. The ideal situation is finding that diamond in the rough, the much cheaper, uncovered talent that nobody's actually heard of yet. Because you know that with the right training, they could be a superstar. And it's exactly what happened here. The house was in Manchester, which is a great area to invest in. It's been one of the best performing regions in the UK for a few years now. I knew that houses very rarely came up for sale on that road because it's just very well sought after. So when I was walking down the road one day and I saw this place, it stopped me in my tracks. It was in the right area at the right time, and I knew there would be less demand for this property due to the fact that it was in a pretty bad condition. In other words, it had all the makings of a World Cup winner. However, the very thing that attracted me to the house was also the problem, because when you assess a deal, you need something to compare it to. The ideal situation is that the house next door sold 2 weeks ago and is in exactly the same condition. But as I said, houses very rarely come up for sale on that street, so I had to get creative. I went and found similar houses within a quarter-mile radius that had sold in very good condition. Now, then I worked out what their price and value per square meter is. And multiplied that figure by the square meterage of the property that I was looking at. By the way, if you want to stack deals really quickly without having to do a bunch of mental maths, you can get my free deal calculator by clicking the link in the description. Once I ran the numbers, I was happy with what I saw, and I decided to take a look at the property. And to be honest, it was worse than I imagined.
Bear in mind, this house has been empty for 4 years.
It'd been vacant for 4 years, and there were cracks in the walls, a leak in the roof, smashed windows, and of course, the creepy weed basement. But that wasn't the worst thing. When I went upstairs, I realised the bathroom had been ripped out, which firstly made me worried about the previous owner's personal hygiene, and secondly, it made me worry about the deal itself, because no bathroom means no mortgage. So at this point, it looked like the deal was off. I lost my star signing, but then I had an idea. So I made a few calls, ran some numbers again, and decided that the deal would still be worth it. But firstly, I needed to do something about the price. And in this situation, 99% of people would just ring the estate agent and they'd say, hey, it's not actually in very good condition, this. Could I maybe get a discount, please? And the estate agent would give them the cookie cutter response that they give everybody and say, you know, the seller's really looking for as close to the asking price as possible. End of. How often have we all heard that? But if you really want to make money in property, you need to be thinking a little bit differently, because the profit is in the purchase. So rather than ringing up, I went to visit the local estate agents. I sat down with the guy and asked everything I needed to know about the seller's personal situation. How long was the property vacant for? Why were they selling? Why aren't they doing the house up themselves? How long has it been on the market for? How fast do they need to move? How fast do they need to sell the property? Once I realised the seller needed to get rid of the property as quickly as possible, I knew there was some serious room for negotiation. So I started by explaining that we regularly buy houses in that area, i.e. there is potential for future business and repeat business, which also can help get the agent on side. And by the end of that meeting, we managed to actually get a really solid offer to the vendor, but on one condition. We needed to install the bathroom before the mortgage valuer came round to look at the property, because no bathroom means no mortgage. So after a bit of back and forth, we signed the paperwork, went onto Facebook Marketplace, found a cheap bathroom for about £30. We installed everything just in time and we got the deal done.
We've got ourselves a full-on bath, we've got the toilet, we've got the sink, and we got this done the day before the mortgage valuer came round. The day he came round, he had a look, signed it off, and we got the mortgage offer approved.
So all that stress, was it worth it? Before I take you through the final figures and break down how much we're actually going to make, let's take a look at what the property looks like now and the 3 major changes that we made to add value. Now the house used to have a separate kitchen and dining room, which made everything feel a lot smaller and just a lot darker really. So we knocked through the wall to open everything up, bring in more light to both of those rooms and make the house feel much bigger. So that tiny change will not only add a few £1,000s to the price of the house, but it will also increase the number of potential buyers because people like the open plan feel. Open plan is selling at the moment. Now, similar to the asking price, if you really want to make money with property, you need to think outside the box and get creative with the space that you buy. I could see that every other house on the street wasn't actually maximizing the space in their back garden, and they were actually missing out on a huge opportunity. So remember the calculation that I made before with the square meterage at the beginning? This is where that really came into play because we put on an 18-meter extension onto the back of the house, which I knew would make a huge difference to the price of the house because we were creating extra space out of thin air.
I was really nervous that even once we'd knocked through it wouldn't look great, but it really does. We've got a window here that still needs to get sprayed anthracite so that it fits in with the bifold doors. We've got obviously the 4 bifold doors that fully open up. We've got the 3 Velux windows in the top as well. So we have a lot of light coming into this room.
So the second way we added value was adding the extension on. Now, number 3, when I looked up and down the street, I realized that everyone was parked on the street, which is kind of strange for such a nice road. So thinking outside the box, we decided to do things a little differently than everybody else on the street. We knocked down the front wall at the front of the house, which meant that the front garden wasn't going to be able to be used as a garden. Now, I don't think personally many people use a front garden anymore, so I didn't really mind. And instead, we built a brand new driveway. Now, that might sound like a small change, but it became the only house on the street to have off-street parking, which is surprisingly valuable. You can increase your value by about 10% by adding a driveway where the rest of the properties on the street don't have one. And again, this gives the property something different to everything else on the street and will bump up the price even more than anything that's sold there previously. Were my calculations correct, or should I have left things as they were and tried my hand a bit of cannabis farming? Well, the original asking price was £300,000, but I managed to negotiate them down to £275,000. We spent £50,000 on the interior, including the extension, but then we also had to spend about £9,000 completely replacing the roof and £3,000 on the garden. The kitchen was a separate price that came to £7,500, bringing our grand total spend to £346,000. And how much is the house valued now? Well, it's estimated by the estate agents that sell every property in that area at £450,000 to £475,000, which means that we have 2 options. Either we can sell the property and make between £104,000 and £129,000, or we can hold on to the property and rent it out for about £2,150 a month. And if we go for option B, I'm confident that in 3 years' time, the property will have grown in value significantly. My estimation is that it will be worth about £550,000 to £600,000, considering how fast the Manchester market is growing. So in the space of 8 months, our underpriced academy player has turned into a world-class striker that could bang in goals for us year after year. By the way, if you're interested in getting property deals with us, you can sign up to our deal email list through the link in the description. However, as I mentioned earlier, my profits wouldn't have been as high if I hadn't secured a big discount up front. So if you want to learn my exact process and the exact questions that you need to ask to buy properties below market value, then check this video out here next, and I'll see you there.